Meet today's specialist. She's a political analyst, a nationally syndicated radio host, and a Fox News contributor, but she specializes in playing classical piano. Leslie Marshall is here, and he's a Republican strategist. In 2008, he served as the state finance leader in California for Rudy Giuliani's presidential bid. He is the chairman for the pro-Donald Trump Great America PAC, and he specializes in indoor cycling. Eric Beach is here. I'll start with you, Leslie. Your thoughts on this. How are we tying this to... So you can ask the question, did Donald Trump Jr. vet this meeting well enough or not? But the reason why this Russian lawyer was even in town was because of Loretta Lynch under Obama let her in.
Well, Loretta Lynch, to Ebony's point, let her in because there was a client that she was the attorney for that needed representation. They allowed her to stay longer because they wanted to wait for the motion to come back from the judge instead of her going back to Russia, then letting her in again. Then when she was here, she definitely met with different people regarding opening up adoption with Russia again. As the parent, as you guys all know, I have 2 kids, one's adopted. I'm totally in favor of anything that we can do to help people throughout the world adopt children that need homes. But she was not up front, not only with the Department of Justice, she went beyond when she was here. She also allegedly was not up front with Donald Trump Jr. To Kat's point, though, when he saw who she was, where she came from, and what she wanted to meet about, that should have been the stop sign right there because she is from Russia. It does matter. You have to get dirt on your opponent, no question. But who you get it from and who you meet with certainly matters.
What do you say? Left-wing media and also Democrats on the Hill are saying that they discovered Russian hacking the election. Russians changed the votes. Comey got fired. Comey's memo. Trump demanded Comey loyalty. Trump revealed classified info on the Russian to the Russian foreign minister in the Oval Office. It goes on and on and on, and these things go up like a bottle of rocket, but they fizzle out once they get there.
Well, I wouldn't say everything fizzles out.
Well,
I mean, there was a memo. I mean, Comey was fired. He wasn't comfortable with some of the things the president was saying, how he was saying what he was asking him to do. However, I will agree with you every time, if we say Russian salad dressing, the Democrats, my ilk don't need to get crazy. But we do have an investigation, and we need to let that play out. And then perhaps we will see collusion, obstruction of justice, articles of impeachment recommended.
No,
and I think that, and I think that's what we need to do, Eric. Because
B block. Well,
sorry, and I think you're talking about going to war with Russia over those emails is as crazy as Democrats saying treason.
Well, yeah, but who's suggesting? No one's actually suggesting going to war. And by the way, let's be honest, Russia has been trying to hack and trying to influence our elections for 50, 70 years since the Cold War. But we've been doing the same to them.
Of course.
This is common practice. So when someone comes and says...
It doesn't mean we shouldn't protect ourselves.
Oh, of course we should. In fact, I've never suggested we shouldn't. I'm simply saying that if Donald Trump says, I want to meet or I want to talk or I want to shake the foreign minister's hand in the Oval Office, we shouldn't be pulling, 4 levels of investigations as to what they talked about.
I don't think... Sorry. No, Leslie, go ahead.
But to your point earlier, both of you, with the relationship that we have with world leaders, certainly you want to keep good relationships with most, not all world leaders. Obviously, North Korea would not be on my list. But with regard to Russia, you have to remember we have to be very careful with them. Russian hacking aside, look at their position with the Iranians, look at their position with the Chinese, and look at their position with Syria, with Assad. That's concerning. We're not necessarily batting for the same team and have the same agenda and the same goals even with regard to those.
And as Tucker pointed out afterward, that sounds a lot like he wants to impeach the president so that he'll stop tweeting. Leslie, I'm going to go to you on this because, impeachment's serious. I mean, we're kind of laughing about it in the way it's done here, but it's a serious thing. And we've seen, most of us remember the Clinton impeachment trials and things of this nature. We know what that looks like, the heaviness of it. How does it sit with you that this congressman is admitting that he's doing this not really to actively impeach the sitting president, but really as some type of intervention mechanism? And he even admits that it's a faint attempt, no less.
Well, I live in L.A.
And this is not your congressman.
And I was going to say, not my congressman.
I asked you during the break,
I'm with Adam Schiff. I mean, even Maxine Waters is not on board, signing up for this. We only have 2 people, Al Green in Texas and then Ben Sherman in California. Part of the problem here is, one, we don't really have, if you just Google what the articles of impeachment needed for articals of impeachment to put forth.
High crimes and misdemeanors.
Put forth are. 1. 2, as we talked about in segment A, the tantalizing introduction appetizer to B, that you got to let this play out. You have to have the investigation go forth. It doesn't help the party. It doesn't help the people, and it certainly doesn't help the process. Adam
Does it
Schiff
hurt the
said
party?
before.
Does it hurt the party?
I think it does, because we have certainly some rifts and fragmentation within the party as it is. Look, there are a lot of people out there who want Donald Trump to be impeached. Just because you want something to come about doesn't mean it will, and that's wrong for the American people in the process. What we all want, I think, regardless of our ideology, is the truth. And I feel that the special counsel will get to the truth if we let him. And this is a diversion, and I just think it's wrong, and I don't like when people in my party do it. Adam Schiff said it's beyond premature to talk about impeachment at this point. I would agree with him.
You know what? Fine. You're right. Let's wait and see what Mueller has to say. But again, when can we all put this aside when he's done?
Absolutely.
Should we wait and see if we can have another?
Not if he recommends impeachment.
Oh, come on.
And you have
Leslie,
a Republican
impeachment.
Congress that won't do it.
For what?
Yeah,
For
we don't know.
At this point, we don't
if they've
know.
leaked every single thing that this guy's life has been about over the last year, wouldn't you think they'd leak the most damning thing in the world, which would be some evidence of collusion?
Because Eric, you think it's all about the president. It isn't just about the president. Remember, there are different people involved here. Now, Ebony's attorney, she'll back me up on this one.
You can't impeach Donald Trump for
You don't cut a
Donald
deal
Trump
and
Jr.
ask for immunity unless you're going to jail. And you have something on somebody to offer.
And I think this is a sad, and really, I need a stronger word than sad, Leslie. I think it's irresponsible what the GOP is doing in this moment. I really
Completely
do want
agree.
healthcare.
If nothing else, we know definitively that this bill is not right for America because Eric Bolling and I agree and agree that it's not right for America. But all jokes aside, look, Lisa Murkowski's phones are ringing off the hook, and he's not going to have the votes. And one of the reasons is he's not addressing things that Republicans' constituents throughout Middle America
You're talking about Mitch McConnell,
are
right?
talking about.
You're not talking about Trump. Let's be clear.
No, I'm not talking about Trump.
Thank you.
Not
Okay.
everything's about Trump.
No, but let's be clear. This is a Senate bill, not a Trump bill.
No, absolutely. I'm not talking about the president. I'm talking about the Senate, specifically Senator McConnell. But the GOP's problem here is that one of the issues with Obamacare is the rise in cost of premiums. We see in the report after report and analysis after analysis, it doesn't address that. One. Two, their constituents are the middle and lower income Americans. By 2026, 26 million people will be off of Medicaid, but you got to go further out in the plan. 10 years later in 2036, and you're talking 35 million people total. A lot of these individuals are their constituents. And then asking older people to pay even more, this is worse than Obamacare. And let's remember that the implementation to undo something and to put something in place, especially if something in place is worse, it's not just a political nightmare. You're putting politics over people, and that is going to be a huge issue in the midterm election for Republicans if my fellow Democrats get off the couch and come out and vote. Well, first thing I thought of, like you had said, is it because of their age? Because if somebody said because they're juveniles, we're not putting this out there, that would have been a different thing. When they said it was because of it being racially insensitive, going further, apparently BART received, once people found out that these were minority use, there were just huge amounts of phone calls and emails that were extremely racist. Although I have to say, you know, as a liberal living in very diverse Southern California, having formerly lived in Northern California, the people can handle it. They want BART to be transparent. And remember that minorities are also victims of these crimes. And we want to catch these individuals. One of the crimes was violent. One was stealing of a cell phone. But nonetheless, if you can protect. And by the way, the liberal San Franciscans out there have complained that BART is
constitutional.
The court, so far, everybody in the court has laughed. And by the way, can we give credence where credence is due and just props to the monkey? That's a heck of a selfie. I was going to say, from a monkey, he's got it focused and he's smiling. He looks great.
That's a really good selfie.
It's not the owner of the monkey. That would be different if you say, hey, you didn't ask about, you messing with my monkey. You didn't ask if you can take a picture of my monkey. But we're such a litigious society. This is just, you know, such a waste of courtrooms that are already clogged. And
it's so opportunistic too, right? Like you're saying, like you don't own the monkey. Like, are you trying to get in on this? That's what I'm saying. Like a real, and there's real, like I've seen cases where Humane Society or different organizations will come in to protect, you know.
How was the monkey harmed when he took the picture of himself?
The monkey got some shine off of this. This is a win for the monkey.
So yeah, you think it's fair to pay monkeys an exposure, is what you're saying. We don't actually need to pay this monkey. But this keeps going on and on. I guess it matters to somebody, right?
You know what else keeps going on and on? This segment.
It's that time again to circle back with our specialists, Leslie Marshall and Eric Beach. Okay, Leslie, now I too spent some time tickling the, wait for it, ebony and ivories,
Yes,
right? Okay,
yes.
Not probably as prolific as you. Who are your favorite composers? Classical
Oh,
piano?
I'm just old school, like Rachmaninoff and Beethoven and Mozart and that kind of stuff. Chopin, the masters that I started learning very young.
Awesome. Do you still play?
No.
Okay.
No, actually, a very quick story. I had a scholarship to a very prestigious, will not say, school to be a classical pianist, and I didn't go. And that was a disappointment to some of my musical side of my family. And I didn't play for a very long time. It was, I needed therapy to
Yes,
to get over that.
Yeah.
So I don't play as much.
But eventually you returned to playing.
A little bit.
Okay.